This tutorial goes over how to calibrate the RetroTINK-4K to play Super Game Boy on original hardware. As with other tutorials in this series, the RetroTINK-4K is an advanced scaler and you should read up on more information to learn how to use it. I'm linking the Super NES section of the RetroTINK-4K wiki so you can read on. These settings require an enhanced S-Video, YPBPR, or RGB connection to the RetroTINK-4K. I will be using the 240p test suite and the 144p test suite, but those software are not necessary for calibrating sharpness or color in some cases. The Super Game Boy can be thought of as one specific game in the Super NES library, so we can use a specific sample rate instead of multiple used in a generic Super NES profile. To start, open the RGB component ADC Setup menu. Set samples per line to 3410. Set decimation factor to 10. Now hit the phase button on your remote to activate the automatic phase calibrate function. This should give you the sharpest possible picture from your Super NES. At this point, if you can calibrate your colors, do so now. If you haven't done so already, start your Super Game Boy with a game in it. Enter the Scaling Crop Setup menu. The most important setting to change is the aspect correction under Scaler. Change that to 1:1 square pixel. This gives Game Boy games their square pixel look similar to their original screens. At this point, how you scale the game is up to you. Just so you are aware, the Game Boy screen in your picture is not centered, so you will have to play with the trim options to center the Game Boy screen. If you want the Game Boy screen to fill the display, you'll want to trim the sides to the edges of the Super Game Boy border and the top and bottom to the edges of the Game Boy screen inside of the border to get a perfect 15 by 15 square pixel scale at 4K. You won't be able to see the Super Game Boy settings at this scale, so make sure you make any adjustments before you scale the image in this way. That's it, you've successfully calibrated the RetroTINK-4K to play Super Game Boy. Enjoy your Game Boy games.